Emotionally neglected, it's not unimaginable that Helga would latch on to the first person who showed her the time of day. In kindergarten, Arnold paid attention to her when her own parents forgot she existed. And so began her obsession. But the other kids teased her for it, and she lashed out. Her best defense has always been a good offense. Better to hurt others than to be hurt. This philosophy extended to her crush as well, which is why she liked to pick on him. Keeping him at arm's length would prevent him from hurting her, not that he usually would on purpose. Arnold is the quintessential nice guy, the neighborhood peacemaker. One time he did purposefully hurt her, he only did it because she pushed him too far. Does Helga's cruddy life excuse the shrine? No, not really. However, it has always been played for comedic effect. That's the only way one can play it without it coming across as majorly skin-crawling creepy. It's not something she's really proud of. She, like Edward, knows her behavior is wrong. And, like Edward, she doesn't know exactly how to stop. But, unlike Edward, she makes an effort to curb the behavior on several occasions. Once, she repressed it so much she started hallucinating that the lemons at the local market took on the shape of his head and talked to her. Obviously, this indicates an instability that is beyond her control. Edward could have walked away from Bella at any time. He stayed merely because he wanted to, even though he could have easily killed her by accident. That's quite selfish of him, no matter what his supporters say. If he really cared about her, he would have stayed away before she decided that she was in OMG twoo love with him after only knowing him for about a week. Now, onto the subject of watching their crushes sleep. Edward did it repeatedly, practically every night, and well before Bella even spoke more than 20 words to him. He even brought oil for the window so it wouldn't squeak, and thought about rifling through her things to find out what she likes. This behavior is both immoral and illegal in all 50 states. Helga, on the other hand, only did it once, and it was totally by accident. Her father gave her a parrot, and it memorized one of her sappy poems. Then it flew away, and Arnold found it. So, Helga tried to sneak into his room and get it back. But of course, he walked in, and to keep from being discovered, she leapt into his couch, which folds into the wall. When he went to bed, there was no way she could escape without alerting him to her presence. So you see, there's a big difference between the two. Edward's behavior was calculated and repetitive. Helga's one in his room without his knowledge incident had a motive other than watching Arnold sleep, namely, saving her ass. Now, that isn't to say all of Helga's behavior is excusable. In the movie, she forced herself on Arnold after confessing everything to him, including telling him about the shrine. He didn't even have time to assimilate that information before she grabbed him in a smooch. That scene is very similar to the one in which Jacob kisses Bella, and she's forced to just stand there and wait for it to end. I don't approve of it in Eclipse, and I don't approve of it in the Hey Arnold movie. I did once upon a time, but then I learned that girls can sexually assault boys too. And just like with Bella and Edward, it doesn't matter if Arnold eventually returns her feelings. It was still wrong of her to force him into a kiss. That isn't the first time she's done it either, but if I recall correctly, the third time. In the end, though, it comes down to this. Helga has redeemable qualities, and Edward doesn't. Underneath her tough girl facade, she's a lonely, vulnerable person. She has a passion for poetry. She acts like a tomboy but dresses femininely. She loves her family but can't relate to them, though sometimes she really connects to them. For a children's show character, she has more depth of personality and feeling than a lot of characters on adult shows. Edward's primary character trait is that he's controlling and manipulative. He doesn't let Bella make her own decisions. He presumes to know what's best for her and acts accordingly. I mean, he takes a part out of her car engine, so she can't visit Jacob, her so-called best friend. And, as I noted before, when that doesn't work, he has Alice kidnap Bella. Bella calls it controlling and even psychotic. Clearly it bothers her, but he doesn't care. Edward can be just as melodramatic as Helga. In Breaking Dawn, after Edward and Bella's extensively bruise-inducing sex, he actually throws his arm over his eyes and is like, Whoa, I have marred your beautiful, fragile humanness. I will never forgive myself. The problem is that we're actually supposed to take Edward seriously. At least when Helga falls prey to that sort of thing, it's intended to make us laugh and roll our eyes. In the text, his dominant trait is his physical attractiveness. Someone on LiveJournal once counted. In Twilight alone, Bella references Edward's beauty 165 times. How redonkulous! I would take flawed, wonderfully complex Helga G. Pataki and her unibrow over that every time. At least she has a nice side. I've yet to see Edward perform a single selfless act in all of 4.5 books. Helga once anonymously sacrificed her much-coveted Christmas present, a pair of designer boots, to help Arnold find his neighbor's long-lost daughter. In the same situation, Edward wouldn't give a shit. Now all he does is whine about how humans, except for Bella, are all shallow and insignificant. And that is why Helga is the superior character. Thank you very much for taking the time to make it to the end of my essay. Feel free to leave comments, even if you disagree with my opinion. Just remember my no ad hominem policy. If you insult me, I will ignore you, plain and simple. Thanks again, and have a great day.